Hello. Okay, so today I'm going to be working with weights, little 3-pound weights, and some ballet positions. This is going to be to a couple things to control. A couple of the Pilates principles is control, centering. So this is going to be for control and centering. And then also working with the magic circle. Fun fact about the magic circle. The story is that Joseph Pilates was wanting to work with something that had resistance. So he got the idea from a barrel, like one of those whiskey barrels, big barrel thing, whatever it is, took the ring off, and he was able to have resistance whenever you press against this. I feel it, my chest muscles, my right here, my triceps, all up underneath here, biceps, but it's the small muscles that it's working. And I feel it also in my lats, my back, my upper back. And he also worked with putting 2 and 3 of these together. Obviously, the more bands that you have, the more resistance you're going to have, and the more challenging it will be. So I found this interesting. Some of the exercises that we did with this, it reminded me of exercises that would be beneficial for an aerial class. Not necessarily the exact same things, but building those smaller muscles in your shoulders that are not always focused. So I liked this. I'd like to continue with this and learn more about it, as well as the weights. I really enjoyed both of these. So I'm gonna start with the weights. We started off, and once again, I'm gonna make this as brief as possible, but I just wanna explain it correctly. So feet sort of in a wide parallel, just do a few roll downs, come back up, roll them down, get a good stretch in your back, continuing to focus on spine health, spine flexibility. I don't think my spine has ever felt this good in my life since I've known Pilates, and I really appreciate it. All right, now coming to a turnout. If you're able to see me, and just sort of as I come up, float my arms. So really trying to hold, stay up just a touch at the top, sort of hold and then lower back down, lowering up, dropping down, and lowering down. So in this, obviously I'm working my legs, my calves, my hamstrings, my shoulders. I really feel it firing up right here. But you know, if I'm being honest, if I bring my arms too far out, I notice my balance begin to get compromised, and I kind of want to topple over. So I'm really having to focus on staying centered over my toes and come back down. We do this for a series. All right, so pressing arms up, releve, and sort of swimming down. Pressing arms up and swimming down. I really like the idea of these arm strengthening exercises that are not only on the mat. I find that incorporating light weights, you're able to strengthen those small muscles that you would on the mat, but it just works different parts of your arms, and it just adds variety as well. So similar thing, circling up, elbows down, so into a releve. So a lot of this, basically all of this workout was basic ballet positions, turnout. We did not do this too much in parallel. The majority of it was from a turnout and a second position stance. So here, wanting to present my arms. So décolleté, my arms floating up, And I'm already feeling it, even though I have not done too many repetitions. I'm feeling it in my forearms right here, in a similar place where I felt it in Aerial Silks class, whenever we're climbing it and you build strength right here. I really want to think about going out to the four corners, no, not the four, the two corners of my room, extending out long. And really, while I'm bending down, I'm still lifting in my upper torso. I'm thinking bringing my head, the crown of my head to the ceiling and staying lifted as well. Elevate down and up. So in this, we also worked on our spines, similar to the saw exercise. So here, just sort of twist or rotate and center. Twist, rotate in the spine, center, working my front abdominals as well, my obliques, my lower back, well, a large portion of my back as well. But if I do this without weights, it's very free to move. I notice I can do it pretty easily, but just adding these 3-pound weights, I'm really having to dig in to my abs. I'm having to really think about what my arms are doing and be aware of my abs as well. And also I'm working through my thighs and my toes to really keep centered and in control. All right. I'm gonna be in second position again. Just some basic releve and bicep curls. Nothing too fancy in this movement, but usually if we're doing a plie or releve or something like that, we're not always working our arms. So this, I found this functional. I am a really big fan of a functional exercise. I think it's a great idea to, why not combine arms and legs? If you're working ballet and you're trying to build strength, let's say the student is taking ballet and also taking aerial. This is a really great idea, I feel like, because my biceps are lit up, my shoulders are lit up. These are not heavy weights. I am a heavyweight person. I usually gravitate to heavy weights. I haven't always been a believer in light weights, but I am now. I've been trying this. I like it. It works. It works. I underestimated it, and I can admit that. Okay, so this one, I like this one a lot. I had not done this movement before. I'm getting warm. So, I'm in a lunge position. You can see, I'm gonna face you, but lunge, and taking my arms and just sort of walking with them. Really not moving too fast, staying in control. But in this lunge, besides my arms, my front calf is working. I feel it lit up right now. I feel that my calf muscle working. I feel my hamstring working in my front leg. I feel a nice stretch in my back leg. And I'm getting to work. And I'm having to engage my core as I'm standing here and lifting. And my shoulders as well. We'll repeat the same thing on the other side. And what I find interesting in this is while I'm in this lunge, I'm not doing any work. I'm just as if I'm on my standing leg, if we're in ballet or whatever other dance form we were in. But this standing leg is getting a lot of work just by holding my body right here. So my quadricep is hot right now. My shoulders, we're just walking. And I feel it in my glutes as well. So once again, if I were to do this without weights, it's pretty simple. I will say I do find without the weights, I lose my balance more. So I'm curious to know, or I think it's interesting that the weights, just 3 pounds, are able to keep me a little bit more balanced, centered, and in control, which is what we want in Pilates. Okay, so this one I did find challenging. There is a modification for it. So our back leg is in sort of an attitude, or if you begin to fall, you can put it down. I'm gonna try, but we're hugging a tree. So our back leg is in an attitude. And then just here, really working through balance. I'm having to lift. So here, working through it, not too fast. Working that standing leg and down. And I really feel a lot going on in my upper back, my lats, my shoulder blades. And you would repeat it, the exact same thing on that other leg. This one, this is the one with my knee issue, so it's obvious that I'm not going to be able to balance on that today. But I will kick my leg back as if it's a kickstand. Still getting some work in this leg as well, in my quad. And continuing to hug that tree. Just back here. And it's working in my biceps as well. Really rounding. All right. Chair position. All right, so this one I found interesting and I enjoyed it. I have not done this movement before, but I am familiar with the chair pose. So we bring our arms up, curl together, and then you sort of hinge over like you're taking a dive and down. So here, press up, and then hinge over and come down. A few more of these. So, one thing I noticed when I hinge over, my fan. When I hinge over, my balance, I tend to want to lean back. I tend to want to lean back on the heels of my feet. So, trying to really focus and stay on all parts of my feet in this exercise is challenging, and I enjoy it. I feel it almost reminds me of an exercise. It's a stretch in yoga, half crescent, whatever it is. This sort of like this position, except you're here, and you're really having to work through your feet to stay in control and stay supported. We also went into some second positions in this. A second position plie, holding the weight up, way down and up. Forced arch plie, pulsing. And have one, hold both here and hold both here. But as I'm switching, having to really focus on my core, think about my core as I hand off to each arm to stay centered. There are more exercises we did in that one, but that's a general overview. Moving on to our magic circle. So with this one, we do not begin pressing in right away. We just become familiar with it. And honestly, in this, I found that while I thought this would be very simple, something very, fun, but there's so much control that you have to think about. Control, like you do in Pilates, you control concentrating, goes into this. So while we begin, turn out just lifting and lowering. Even though it's simple, it begins to really fire up your arms. Right here, gives your deltoids, triceps. Our arms, we don't typically hold our arms, so we're not holding something usually in our arms. So this really lightweight really does have an impact as well. And we pull the ring in. And I should have kept my shoulders to me. So, like the push-ups, we would do an aerial, keeping our shoulders up against us. We did that in this as well. Using the ring though. Some side bends. So, brought the ring up, up, and over, but not curving too much. We want to keep that up and over, down, up and over, down. Not too much of a curve. That's not the goal. The goal is to go up, to lift up out of your spine and down. Lift up out and down. Shoulder shrugs, like aerial. So the ring is above our head, and just simple, taking your shoulder blades, lifting them up, and then putting them back into place. I'm not sure if you can tell, but my elbows are straight. So shoulders coming up, lifting out of my, I cannot think of the correct term right now, lifting my shoulder blades up and then placing them back in. Up, and then placing them in. Lifting up, pressing up, holding, and down. Ring to our side. So this one I found interesting. There are two positions, an interior and an exterior position of the shoulder. So, or internal and external rotate. So this would be our internal, and this external. In this, we trying to remember, we stayed here. We did not press in right away. We got adjusted, used to turning out and then in, out, in. Really those small, in that joint, just small movements. And then the other side as well. I'm not sure if I can do this one without, I'm gonna have to think about it. So out, it's too much out, in. Just slide out and in. Getting the elbow out a little bit, bringing it back in, out, in. And then took it out on the side again to work on little pulses in. So I'm turned out my elbow and just tiny, just press it. Now we can begin using the resistance of the ring. So I'm feeling it in all the small muscles right here underneath my arm. Muscles that I don't typically work or don't realize that I'm working, but it's just tiny, tiny movements. And it looks pretty simple. It looks very simple actually, but I'm having to put a lot of thought and concentration into it. I'm also working through my toes and my thighs as well. I'm not just standing, I'm engaged in my toes, my thighs, I'm pulled up. And then turn the elbow in and repeat the same, and it's gonna work the same muscle, but a little bit more. It's not quite the same muscle. I'm lightening up more of that, of the backs of my arms. And then we repeat on the other side. Elbow drop, press, ring. I don't recall what this one was, so I'm not going to try and figure it out. I'm going to skip over it. We went down to the ground, and then we then moved into the basic Pilates mat exercises, which I found very interesting for this. I thought that it would be more simple than what it was. It worked. It was a workout. So I'm sure you can see, yeah. So laying down, the ring in between my thighs. Fun fact, this is where Susie and Summers got the idea for her Thigh Master. And I'm not just making it up. It is true. So I just need to throw that in there. On my back, legs in sort of a tabletop. The pads of the ring in between my thighs. And we just go into tiny pulses. Really working my inner thigh, and it's working my inner thigh all the way up. higher up in my inner thigh that I've noticed in ballet before. It's such a small, concentrated movement, and I can see how it would give Suzanne Summers the idea for the Thigh Master, because I got way more inner thigh workout in this than I have anything before, and I really, I don't know, I thought it was great. It surprised me. It surprised me, to be honest. I underestimated this as well. All right, into our bridges. The bridges were not too easy. I guess it was trying to hold it, maybe because I have thick thighs, who knows. So if you can see me, I hope you can. Here, pressing down in my arms, pressing down on my triceps, and just lifting into my bridge, but keeping my legs, keeping that ring. I'm not pressing in the ring too much. I'm just honestly using the ring to keep my legs separated. I'm not pressing in just yet. I will in a moment. But I'm having to really focus on my glutes, my hamstrings, my lower back, bringing me up and down. Then we come up. We take some pulses in. Now we begin to pulse. And down. So we moved on to more of the basic Pilates movements, one of them being the hundreds. So legs up. And then we come up, engaging our abs, not using our neck. Come up. And then we're pumping. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really curling up, engaging my abs. I'm not using my neck. My core is engaged, and then pulsing as well. So I'm pulsing my legs and pumping my arms. We do not stay here for long, but everything is lit up. So my core, my arms, my inner thighs, and my outer thighs as well, because I'm having to control those too. And it would be nice to take a roll back right here. So legs down, a double leg lift, up, roll back. Really maintaining the space. Get a nice spine massage, roll out my back. This feels really nice. I don't know if I could do this all night, but I really, really enjoy a roll back. And like I said before, anything spine focused. I will probably do more study of the spine because I find it very, very beneficial. All right, so moving on, we're in our diamond position. The ring is to either side of me. We're gonna go with the right side. Press. I know which one I skipped. I'll get back to in a moment. Out. My core is engaged. I'm not slouching over. I'm lifted. I can feel my core engaged right here. I'm getting a nice stretch in my inner thigh that I just worked. Placing my hand here. Placing it here causes me to rest a little bit. If I place it to my side, like this one as well, I'm forced to use this oblique. So, little bounces down. Tiny. So, not only am I working my shoulder, my arm, I'm also having to engage my abs. I'm really heavy focusing on my obliques right now. That's the main core muscle that I notice engaged. And then this side as well. So sort of like bouncing a basketball, really concentrating on this oblique to keep me centered. So I'm not, save my hands down. I can begin to want to slouch, right? I can sort of be lazy about it. No, spine straight, out, pressing down. The one that I just recalled, I was in releve for this one, but this position will do. Up, hands are up, like similar, it was right after we did the shoulder shrugs. So, while the ring is above my head, I'm gonna press in, tiny presses. And this is pretty challenging. It does take a good bit of strength. I find once again, the muscles underneath, I don't recall what they're called because obviously there's more pressure since I'm recording. I do forget things once I get to these videos, but the arm muscles that we don't typically use or work are lit up, the underneath of my arms. Just pressing little movements in, and I notice my upper back working in this as well. Then I'm gonna flip my hands, and now I'm gonna press out, right? Working another part, working more of my lats in this. I feel way more of the work working in my lats in this position with my hands out than I did when they were in. I found that very interesting. Just that small little switch of a position makes such a big difference. All right, and just like the other one, there are more exercises that were covered as well, but for the sake of time in the video, that is it. All right, I will see you next week.